Okay, we're here. Episode 4. Spring is in the air. Baseball's coming back, and the Grammys are still boring. Brett, did you watch any of the Grammys?
I did not. Once I saw they announced the Foo Fighters won, like prior to the show even going on TV, I was like, well, now I have no reason to even bother turning it on if they're not going to play and they're not going to be giving any speeches either. So what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, they always do like the awards that I seem to care about off air. Granted, like I think if the Taylor stuff didn't happen, the Foo Fighters would have been there, probably would have been live. But yeah, it wasn't. I tuned in for a little. I was in like a waiting room doctor's office thing that night. Everyone's fine, but I was sitting there and it just was on the TV. So I caught like some of Nas's performance, which was cool. He had like a whole brass band behind him, like saxophone player, trumpets, all that good stuff. And like his performance was great. And then Chris Stapleton came on and he's like way better than I realized. Never like listened to him too much, but he's good. I listened to him on the ride home after that. Yeah, he shreds. So
Yeah,
that
I'm
was
not
all
like a
I that
big
was all I caught.
country guy, but he's really good.
Yeah,
And I enjoy listening like pretty much anything he puts out because he could sing, he could shred.
yeah,
It's not like all beer and pickup trucks with him. There's actually like good songwriting, which is nice.
yeah. There's some substance there. I just put on like this is Chris Stapleton for like the 20-minute drive home, just to see what he was about. And yeah, it's like you said, good lyrics and like great guitar. So
And
that's
his range
all I
is
need.
like he'll hit some notes like, how are you doing this right now?
Yeah, yeah. I want to dig into him more. I feel like he'd be good like summertime like beach music. Throw on with some
Yeah,
beers.
he's a
Um,
great one.
who else did stuff at the Grammys? I looked up the wins. Obviously, you were just saying the Foo Fighters, they got three. They had best rock performance for Making a Fire, best rock song for Waiting on a War, and then best rock album for Medicine at Midnight. And they have some sort of record. I don't really know the stats, but I know they
Was
like
it winningest band in Grammy history?
that. That sounds good to me.
I feel like that's what I saw. I don't know if it was rock band, but it was definitely winningest band.
Damn, that's awesome.
So good
Um,
for them though.
yeah,
That's some good news in what's been a pretty terrible year so far.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure they don't even care that much. Like, I mean, I'm sure they're proud, don't get me wrong, but it's got to be very
An
bittersweet,
afterthought now.
obviously. Yeah. They did the tribute for Taylor Hawkins, which I looked up on YouTube. It was just like a bunch of clips of him while they played My Hero in like the background. Um, it was fine, like a minute and a half, wasn't anything crazy. They didn't like showcase him drumming all that much, to be honest, but it was just nice they did anything. So whatever.
And didn't like Billie Eilish have like a Taylor Hawkins shirt on at the
Yeah,
show?
yeah, she did.
That was cool.
Yeah, props to her. She's just cool. I like her style. Um, yeah. There was some other like crazy style, like outfits and stuff, but we don't really need to get too into that. I just noticed like
It's the Grammys for you.
everyone was wearing giant clothes. Like Justin Bieber's sleeves were like down to the floor, which I don't know if I love how ridiculous it is or I hate how ridiculous it is, but I mean, whatever. If I was at the Grammys and I was like that famous, I could see just doing something stupid just for the hell of it. So I don't want to judge him too hard.
He's,
But
he's doing the David Byrne from Talking Heads. Like the wiggle suit that was too long.
oh
You ever
yeah.
see that video?
That must have been it. It was a tribute. We just didn't realize it. Dream Theater won an award for best metal performance, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen their name in a while. I'm not like avid in the metal community or anything like that, but they've definitely been
they're
around
like
forever.
they're like the tool of their scene, kind of, right?
Yeah, they're definitely, I think, like one of the more popular names. Um, speaking of Tool, um, Mike Shinoda won an award for remixing Passenger by Deftones, which Maynard sings on. So kind of an
That's a
award
great
for,
song too.
it's such a good song.
Big Deftones fan.
Yeah, I looked up the remix just because I was curious, and it was equally cool. So shout out Mike Shinoda. Congrats. Glad to see he's still
Pretty sure
doing things.
like one time the Deftones played that live with, and then Tim from Rise Against did the Maynard part for Passenger.
What? I almost want to stop this podcast and go listen to that right now because that sounds awesome. I hope it's real and you're not just
It was awesome.
lying to me.
Unless I like switched it around maybe, but I'm pretty sure it was him.
That'd be sick. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that up as soon as we're done. Yeah, that's about all I had for the Grammys. Olivia Rodrigo won Best New Artist. Good for her. She had some songs that were stuck in my head for quite a few weeks, even if one was kind of misery business.
I thought she'd get best album too, but she didn't win it.
I think no, who like pop album?
I think just album is album of the year. It's like the big Grammy award.
Album of the year was John Batiste. Did I do that right?
There's a Batiste.
Too much flair.
I feel like it might be Batiste.
Oh man, that's all right. I'm not fixing it. It's Batiste now. Someone let him know.
That was the Italian like enunciation at the end.
Batiste. I can't say I'm familiar with the album since I can't even say his name right, but that's cool. Maybe I'll listen to it just because album of the year. Might as well listen to a couple songs, see how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. The Grammys, it's like you're always curious. I might tune in for a little, but it's not like whatever. It doesn't like make artists I like more exciting or less exciting, or doesn't really introduce me to too much stuff. Well, we'll see how this
Agreed.
John Batiste album is. Maybe he'll be my new favorite artist. Who knows?
But at least no one got slapped there, so that's a positive news. At least
Yes,
some positive news.
The only slaps were all those banger songs that we were celebrating.
Maybe a little bit, maybe some bases.
All these new banger songs. Have you been listening to which album that we want to get into first? Chili Peppers or PUP?
Let's start with PUP.
I cannot stop listening to PUP's album. I think I've listened to it like 10
I can't
times in
either.
3 days. It's so good. It's so good.
There's nothing bad about it at all so
No.
far.
It goes so hard. There's so much like aggression, but controlled at the same time. And like, I don't even know where to start. I think the last song is my favorite. Like something about bankruptcy. PUP is filing for bankruptcy. It goes so hard, and like there's this like crazy bass riff that carries the song, and then there's this thing at a minute in that I love where the bass is just like ripping the riff, and then the drums just do this like it's like this machine gun almost. I don't know. It's just so cool. It makes me want to just like go nuts. I am in love with that song.
It ends the way it begins, the album. Like, I'm hoping when we see them, it goes 4 chords into Totally Fine. I think Totally Fine is like another one of those just punches you in the face like immediately the second you hit play on it.
Yeah, it's so good. What do you think of like the skits they have, like the themes in the middle? There's like a few tracks with them like talking to the label and like talking about making the album. Did you like that?
It's like 4 chords, part like 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was entertaining because they were only like they're like easy to miss if you're not paying attention. Like one of them's like 9 seconds long. I think it's the last one, part 3.
Yeah, I like it. Like they didn't overdo it, because I think
No,
if it was too much, like the intro is one thing, but I don't want like minute and a half skits, because then I just think there's more songs on the album and there's not, and I get sad. But I like the one when he's like, we're discussing if we should tune the vocals. I say no, and I vote to end democracy in this fucking band. It just cracks me up.
That the one that goes right into waiting.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Um, yeah, I really like this album. Um, I can't wait to see it live. It's gonna be so good. These guys are
I'm so
just
glad I skipped. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just trailing off. But yeah, you got to hear the whole album fresh. Like you didn't even
That's what I
hear
was gonna
Totally
say.
Fine until this
No,
week. Wow.
and it was awesome. Waiting too. Like I'm like, there's like a million plays on it already,
Yeah.
and like it was
Wow.
my first time when it was on Friday. But I'm like, I can't believe I waited this long for this because this song like kicks ass.
Yeah. There's there's so many good songs, so many good lines. Um, but yeah, like so I had listened to the singles, so that's one, two, three, four songs out of, and then not counting the interludes. That's like practically half the album right there that I already heard before it came out, which is like a weird thing in this world we live in because you
It's a lot of singles.
it's a lot of singles. I remember the Front Bottoms did it too. I felt like over half the album was out before the album came out, and it kind of takes away a little. I don't know. What if a band was only going to put out two singles before the album? Would you listen then, or you still hold off?
Depends on the band because I remember like if it's like a day to remember, I've cheated in the past because like I can't wait to hear what it sounds like, or if it was like Foo Fighters or something. Like some bands, I'm like I need the full album,
Yeah,
but I still feel like one or two is like your like the prime spot. You get enough anticipation out there with your fans, and you give them like the full meal when the album drops. But
yeah.
I don't know. It seems like we're in a different time now, so maybe I do have to start adjusting my no single rule.
Well, when you're on a music podcast that talks about music, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that might help too.
um, yeah, no, but even having heard all those singles early, hearing them within the context of the album gives them a little like new light. Also, um, I can't get enough of this album. I actually had to force myself today to not listen to it until like lunchtime because I don't want to play it out. So I told myself like listen to something else. Um, it was raining and Sirius XM was playing one of the Nirvana unplugged songs. So I just put that album on, like some acoustic Nirvana on a rainy like Wednesday is pretty appropriate, I think.
Great spring album.
Great spring album in bloom. um, do you want to do some chili talk?
I do. I probably have more thoughts on this one than Pup because Pup is just pretty straightforward, like front to back. This is a great album. I'm going to be listening to it for a while. It's
Yeah.
easily one of my favorites of the year so far.
Yeah.
Chili Peppers, on the other hand, I feel like we're probably going to go a little long on, not long, but a little more in depth with because it's an hour and 13 minutes. So there's a lot more to digest there.
Yeah, it's a pretty packed album. 17 tracks, hour 13 minutes. It's a lot of music. What were your initial thoughts?
So I think if I follow my Weezer rule and just be like, okay, are there like 1 to 3 songs on here that I'll walk away happy with? Will that be enough? And for this, I feel like it was. Like 3 of the songs I liked, I'm probably going to keep listening to, and I'll probably still keep listening to the album because it's kind of, again, 17 songs. You're not going to learn them all within like the first week probably, but like I really enjoyed Poster Child. I feel like that's like their version of We Didn't Start the Fire in a way. And I like the way he delivers the lyrics, and it's like all these different name drops and the way he delivers it.
That was the like super funky one.
Yeah, like right. I think
Yeah.
it's like track 5.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the singles. I like that one also. It's just very funky. It slaps.
It does.
Literally. I'm pretty sure
Flea
Flea is
slap.
going in. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good song. I don't I listened through it through once, if I'm being honest. I don't even think I made it completely to the end. Um,
It's a
it's
lot to digest.
it's a lot, and uh, listening to Anthony Kiedis for an hour and 13 minutes is a little tough for me anyway. I mean, I like him. He's the Chili Peppers, like you know what you're getting. But an hour 13 is a lot. And some of the songs he's more like beep a boop bop boo than others, like you know.
Yep.
Um, but my favorite part of a lot of this album was like the bridges on all these songs were so good when they would just kind of go off into jam land and have like some spacey guitars, or like Flea and Chad would be in the pocket together. Like I noticed like John Frusciante was doing some real cool stuff with his guitar too. Like he wasn't always even necessarily like playing. Like there was a song kind of in the first half, and he's just like leaning in and giving it a lot of feedback, and it just works really well. Like instrumentally, they have some really good moments on this CD.
Yeah, his return, I feel like, was easily the best part of the album, because like whether he was doing like those solos, like I think he had a really cool one on The Great Apes,
The Great
and then
Apes.
I'm trying to remember that feedback. I know the one you're talking about, but like I'm blanking on the name. But like everything he did, I thought he was great. It was just, if you have a 17 track album and like each song is like averages like 5 minutes, it's really hard to like take that in nowadays. Or even just in general, because like you have to listen to this album like so many times. It's like there's part of Stadium Arcadium I don't remember, because like
Yeah.
there's a two album or two, what's the word? It was a double album.
Double album.
There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And like
Uh,
there's songs on there I don't remember other than like the big singles. And that's like kind of the risk you run when you have that much content.
yeah. It got me thinking about our conversation a few weeks ago about double albums when I said more songs is just more potential for good songs. I'm not so sure I agree with myself anymore because I think
Album change your mind.
it's harder to digest an album when you can't like consume it all in one sitting. Or if you do, like like Pup's got to be around 40 minutes, I would think. By the time you get to the end, the beginning is still kind of fresh in your head. Like it feels like one like full ride through like the album, whereas this just feels like a lot of songs. um
Yeah. You can listen to Pup
yeah,
almost like three times in like the same amount of time it would take to listen to this once.
yeah, exactly. So it's going to be easier to get familiar with an album like that, like you had said. um but yeah, there's definitely songs on this that I'm going to return to. It's just I'm going to have to find them again because I didn't write down
These Are the
which
Ways
ones.
was my favorite, because that was
They're the
that sounded like
ways.
vintage Chili Peppers. The catchy chorus and like the band rocking out.
Yeah,
That's like your stereotypical rock Chili Pepper song is These Are the Ways.
I was actually impressed with how Chili Peppers it sounded, which might sound kind of silly to say, but like a band this old and this far down, like you'd expect them to maybe deviate from their sound or try, not even to say they're not trying different things, but like some of these songs sound like they could have been written like 10, 20 years ago by these guys, which I think is pretty cool. When it comes to a band sound, that they no one sounds like them, and
No,
that's impressive for
they
sure.
stay true to who they are.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a cool album. I'm gonna have to spend some more time with it before I.
It's like an assignment.
Yeah, yeah, but I can
Like
see
this would have
some
been
of
a good
these
one.
songs making it to playlists.
Yeah, not the whole thing, probably.
No, and I wonder, curious what like diehard Chili Peppers fans think of this. Um, if they like it, or if they're kind of in the same boat where there's the songs they really like and then the others are kind of throwaways.
I'll probably dive into that like after this. I want to avoid any like reviews just until we talked about it,
Yeah,
because I don't want to like absorb takes that are out there. I just want to keep it fresh. But
yeah, I'm with you, because it plus like the internet is very full of hate. So it's
oh yeah,
probably It's probably better to just stay away, come out with your own
There's a
opinion,
lot
and
of
then
hate going
dig it.
around before this even dropped. I feel like
Wow.
people who had like heard the album early. So I don't think it was as bad as some made it sound, but
Yeah.
it's definitely meaty.
Yeah. It's 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 packed. It is packed. Um, I saw Rise Against put out a music video today for their song Talking to Ourselves. And it was really cool because this music video, it shows all these people in like an art gallery, but all the art is just QR codes and everyone's on their phones, like scanning things. And then there's like, you see like war videos and protest stuff because it's Rise Against. That's like what they're about. But aside from that, the a lot of fans decided they're going to scan these QR codes in the video, and they started taking us to different places. And one of the videos takes you to an unreleased acoustic version of the song, and then another scan takes you to a 30-second snippet of a unreleased song of a new single.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
But doesn't that kind of go against the theme of the video?
that's exactly what I was thinking, because it's like encouraging you to the video the video I think it's going to take a few watches to see what they're going for, because like you said, it almost seems contradictory, and then I'm like, is this like anti-war? Is it we're so engrossed in like our phones and social media that we're missing stuff? But then at the same time, it's like a lot of this war and stuff is in your face with social media, which is a whole new thing. Like we don't have to get into like politics, but like that's Rise Against. That's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, it was a cool video though. It made me think, but it was definitely cool like to get a snippet of a new song like just hidden in there like that. I don't know.
It's pretty cool, and that's like that was my favorite off the new album. Was Talking to Ourselves.
Yeah. That whole album, it'd be hard to pick a favorite. Um, but that was a great song. And the lyrics, like Tim's just he's unreal with lyrics. Like I don't know how he keeps doing it album after album. So I don't
He's
know if
mastered it at this point.
yeah, yeah, he's a genius. So I don't know if this is a new single or if like they have a bunch of B-sides from the album that they might put out, which I mean either way, they're new singles to us. So that's cool. Um, yeah, Rise Against tour in the summer, seeing them
We'll be there.
twice. Very excited. Oh yeah. Yeah, we will. Actually that I think that's August. So yeah, that's this summer. I love having
Coming up soon.
a good run of concerts ahead of us.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Um, what else happened this week?
Does that segue into the Gaslight tour dates?
Yes, it does. Gaslight announced a bunch of tour dates and left New Jersey and PA like out. And everyone was confused
Until they didn't.
until they didn't. What so that we're getting PNC, I believe.
I have some thoughts on that.
On PNC or on them
Yeah,
saving us till last and being jerk teases.
mostly PNC.
Yeah, we all knew the dates were coming. Why? Obviously, you'd prefer to see them somewhere smaller, or what do you think? Yeah,
So, two parts. First, I don't think the Art Center is a fitting venue for them. I saw them there with Jimmy Eat World when they put Get Heard out in 2014, and you just feel so disconnected. Unlike when you see them at like the summer stage when they're right in your face, everyone's all together, like standing side by side. And because at the Art Center, you're sitting on the lawn and they're like 1,000 feet away. I don't know, I'm bad with that kind of stuff, but they're a million years away, maybe we'll say. But they're really like it's not a great venue for them. Like I don't think they're as big as some of the bands that play the Art Center, and that's not an insult at them. It's just not who they are, especially on a reunion tour. And then especially with their opener, like Jeff Rosenstock is a guy you need to be up front and center alongside everyone else at the concert because he's going to put on an incredible show. And at the Art Center, he's playing the seats in front of him on the stage. It's not the same thing. Like people that are going to be going crazy are going to be so far away from him. So I'm just confused as to why they didn't just do an October show on the summer stage and pick the Art Center.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points. PNC is very disconnected. Like the people on the lawn are hearing parts of the songs like 10 seconds after the people in the front seat.
Yeah.
You're way out there. And yeah, the summer stage, like it's a little smaller, but maybe they could have done a couple days instead if they were so sure they were gonna sell out all these seats. Yeah, I PNC is not really my favorite venue these days.
No.
It like you said, like we intend to go to this. I'm gonna want to get. Oh, we missed the pre-sale. Shoot.
I think we'll be all right because they were pretty much giving away tickets when they toured with Jimmy Eat World because they couldn't sell it out.
Yeah, but are they giving away lawn tickets? Like, because I was gonna
true.
say,
Yeah, that's different.
based off everything you just said, like we're gonna want to probably have seats, like because it's just a better experience. Um, that's what I did for Slipknot the last time I was at PNC, and
Was that a fall show too?
um,
That's my second point was that we're getting an outdoor October show, which I'm not. That could go either way with the weather.
yeah, that's another reason to just get under the roof. At least then if it's cold, you could throw a hoodie on, and if it rains, you
Yeah.
don't have to worry. Um, yeah, like when I
But
think back to like Blink or like Weezer at PNC, being in the lawn wasn't as bad because they kind of cater to that like party atmosphere where like obviously it'd be amazing to see Blink somewhere like Starland, but like that's not really the reality. So for me, those shows were more hang out with all your friends, bask in the nostalgia, and listen to Blink from the lawn while you make your rounds visiting people. Um, and that's great. That's a fun time. But for someone like Gaslight, like you said, like I want to be in the crowd. I want to be 40 rows off the stage, like looking at Brian Fallon and singing along. And I don't know that the lawn at PNC is going to give that to you.
no, I don't see people going too crazy like they do at like a Blink or Weezer show.
Yeah.
I fit that's not their kind of music.
Yeah. They have more of like a tighter knit fan base, I would think. It is a weird choice, especially like so Jeff Rosenstock too. Like, I don't know why they picked PNC. It's very odd.
Like either pick like a club somewhere, like pick Starland or like a week at Starland or something, because obviously they're going to sell out the Jersey shows that are indoor. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we're still probably going to go and have a great time, but it's just I feel like they could have picked a better venue.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It'll still be fun for sure. But smaller venues are always better. Seems to be the theme
Every
with
time.
us. Except for Foo Fighters. They were very cool in
That was cool in
a
a baseball stadium.
some yeah, or like when I saw Metallica. So there are some bands that like cater to that big arena atmosphere. I'm not sure that Gaslight's one of them. And
No,
maybe
they
it
don't have
was
that kind of power like a Foo and a Metallica does.
yeah. Um speaking of Nine Inch Nails is replacing Foo Fighters at this Rockville festival I'm going to and in Boston Calling. Um I'm okay with it. Like, I mean, as much as you can be. I was very excited to see Foo Fighters, but I think Nine Inch Nails should be a cool show. I mean, they're a pretty interesting band. They
Very
get
unique.
yeah, they get weird with it and still like have those like heavy rock and roll roots. So I'm pretty excited. I think, of all the options, I was like really hoping Rage would take the spot, but that was kind of a pipe dream.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'll see Nine Inch Nails. I think I might know more songs than I realize with them. They kind of have decent amount of hits that get played.
They were on K Rock a lot back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Z100 and um Sirius plays them. Yeah, like Closer and what's the hand that serves or something like that. Like Get What
Is it
You
hand that
Deserve,
bleeds or hand that feeds?
Hand That
Hand that
Feeds.
feeds.
Yeah, that's
Hand
a
that,
cool one.
yeah.
Um I need to go through their songs, but I think hearing them I'll recognize more than I realize, which is kind of what you want from headliner bands. Like you see them and like Smashing Pumpkins or another one that same night. I think you'll recognize plenty of Smashing Pumpkin songs, even if you're not like an avid
Yeah.
Smashing Pumpkins listener.
Probably majority of that set, I'd say.
Yeah. In other festival news, Kanye backed out of Coachella like
We could have saw that coming.
a couple weeks before. I think Coachella saw it coming. I was reading that when they booked him, they also booked a backup plan because that's how like little faith they had in him.
Smart.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Swedish House Mafia, and then they're getting like bumped up to headliner, and then The Weekend is also coming in. So yeah,
Those are
that's
pretty big
cool.
headliners.
Yeah, apparently one of the stories I heard was Billie Eilish was playing a show, and one of her fans was either having like a panic attack or an asthma attack or something, and she stopped the show to help them. And Kanye took this as a slight to Travis Scott, and he demanded an apology from Billie Eilish, who's also playing Coachella, which was one of the reasons that he didn't want to play. Now, I just heard this from like word of mouth, so it could be nonsense, but it
No, I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
so ridiculous. Uh, you can't
We
even
have to
make
have a
this stuff
Kanye
up.
conversation one of these days, but I don't know
Yeah.
when that time will be.
Yeah. When we get to Patreon level, we'll just do a whole Kanye
Yeah.
episode and make people pay for it. Do a Kanye bonus episode. He's something. He is something.
Yeah, I've definitely soured on him a lot over the years, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I think most people probably have.
yeah,
The spectacle's
like
always,
I love Life of Pablo when it came out, and then just
yeah, me too.
ever since, just
That album was awesome.
it's so good.
It really was. Yeah, it's just like it gets to a point where it's hard to look past the antics. Like I'm always an advocate for like separating the art from the artist within reason, and he's really starting to toe that line, especially with all like the crazy shit he's doing towards Kim and like just what he was saying to Trevor Noah, and like he's out of
He
control.
might need a little, might need to talk to someone,
Yeah, it gets
at
to a
least get
point
himself
where
some help.
you act obnoxious enough. It's like I don't want to listen to what you're doing because I don't like you.
No, I don't like
Yeah,
what you're doing to other people.
yeah, you got to make really, really good music to be that much of a like jerk. Put it nicely,
Yeah,
but yeah. So I'm glad Coachella had a plan and they were able to bounce back. I think people at Coachella don't mind too much. You go to Coachella to take
no,
pictures, put them on Instagram.
yeah, I'm pretty sure like anyone could be playing and they'd be happy. So
Yeah, yeah, that's so it goes with these festivals. It's people are always dropping out, and Parkway Drive dropped out of this Welcome to Rockville Fest, which I was
oh
kind of
no,
disappointed because I've always heard really cool things about them. I never like really listened to them too much, but I would have definitely checked them out. But
they're very good live. Seen them a
uh,
bunch on Warp Tour. What
uh,
was their reason for dropping out?
they said they've been doing this for 20 years and they've put 100% into this band that entire time, and it's getting to a point where they need to take a step back and kind of look at their lives without the band for a little bit. They said they hope everyone understands they're still going to do their Europe tour dates in the fall. And yeah, I mean,
So they might be breaking up.
they no, they explicitly said that it was just going to be like a hiatus and they would be back. Like they said they would be back in their little announcement. So I don't think they're breaking up, but maybe they take a break and realize that they're over it. I don't know. Um,
He
Yeah.
screams hard, so I can only imagine the toll it's taken on like him personally.
yeah, 20 years of
I'm
just
blanking on his name,
screaming has
but
got to be gotta be rough. They're from Australia.
yep.
That's sick. Uh, Disappointed. I won't get to see them. But
He's got like one of those like earth-shattering screams.
uh, yeah, I'll give them a listen now that I'm back at the office at work a few days a week. I've been listening to way more music because I can't just like throw Netflix on in the background all day.
Fair.
Yeah, but yeah, and I can't just listen to PUP on repeat, or can I?
I could.
I can, and I probably will. Although PUP while driving is dangerous because I get very like jacked up. I
Just
was listening to them.
driving faster.
I was listening to them on like the treadmill the other day, and I like cranked the speed up, and it's like, yeah, I'm an angry 30-year-old. I
You
love
mean
it.
they're good for a parkway drive?
They are great for a parkway drive. A little less screams or different screams. On that note, shall we get to our interview?
Let's get to it. Probably, I take that back.
You did.
I just lost my train of thought. I mean,
Okay. Well,
leave it in.
Stay tuned for the interview and get Brett's train of thought back after.
It's
All
so
right.
good. It took the words right out of my mouth. That's how good this interview was.
Boom. All right. We now welcome on a very special guest. He is the bass player for Grand Theft Audio, New Jersey-based cover band, Mike Hellriegel. He's also the meanest Dimebag Darrell impression on the East Coast. What's up, Mike? First question, how awesome is it being in a live cover band? Because it just looks like the most fun.
It's one of those things where I put it off for years thinking like, oh, I would always see cover bands and be kind of jealous because they were playing to big crowds and people were having fun. But I was like, that's lame, you're playing other people's songs. And then I just broke down and said, I want to go out, play, have fun, meet some people. It's been like the most fun I've had in years. Like I've always said to people, like if somebody goes, you want to drive an hour away to some shore bar you never heard of and you can drink and eat all night, take an Uber home, or you guys stay sober and then play music for like 3 hours. I'm like, yeah, I'd much rather play. It's been cool. Like we've been to like a ton of places we've never been to before, like because it's like, why would you? And then it's just it feels cool when like you're bringing like the good time, and you're playing with like it's kind of like a loaded deck. You're playing all popular songs that people already know, but when you see people, there's always this guy or group of guys. Like you walk in and you're lugging all the gear in, right? It's like there's always this guy like at the bar kind of just like eyeing up like who are these guys? And then like you play like a song that they like, and then all of a sudden you see that the guy's just like smiling like, like you melted the Grinch's heart. but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been cool. We've played a lot of cool places and met some very cool people. So
Yeah, it looks like
yeah,
you've been all up and down. At least New Jersey. I don't know how much you've done out of Jersey yet, but I saw like you played Bird and Betts, and then you've played like you're playing Crossroads next week. Like you're all over the place. So it's got to be fun seeing all these random venues.
it's cool. It's like, Crossroads, like professional, like Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem is playing there. And then they're like, who have like Hot Water Music and like Frank Turner and like, like all these, like legit national touring bands. And then like, we're going to be up there, and that's cool. And it's like, it's fun playing different types of rooms because like, like they all sound different and people, all respond differently. And we're going to be playing in Manhattan later this month at a place called the Red Lion in the Village. And I've never been there, but I think they said like it's an NYU bar and it should be fun. But yeah, the whole thing actually kind of took off faster than all of us thought, which I guess is a it's a good thing. Like we would get like this positive feedback, and like all the musicians were all like leave every show when you think about all the mistakes you made, and then like they're all like, oh yeah, like we really liked you guys, want to have you back. I was like, oh, really? Like, okay, like sure. Like it's been surprising.
Playing Crossroads is a big deal. I feel like I was just telling Nick like a couple of podcasts ago, like how much I love that place. Is it like your first time playing there?
Yeah, it's our first time. I've never been there for like a show or anything. So like we heard about it, and like our singer went out to like go check it out. And so he's, I guess, outside, because that's what he does. He's like the booking machine for us. So he like goes to these places, he talks to everybody, and he's like, this place is awesome, whatever. But that was actually kind of a cool story, because the owner, he emailed them, and the owner's like, oh, come on. He's like, come on in. And so he's like, all right. So he walks in, he says to the bartender, I'm here to see the owner. They're like, yeah, like he doesn't beat people. He's like, I know, but I have an email saying that he wants me to come in. And he goes, and he's like, yeah, I've heard of you guys. Like a couple of my regulars saw you out somewhere and said, I need to book you. And then he says, who are you guys? like who the hell? Like, and that, feels cool. So I'm like this kind of, we're very excited about that show.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. How do you go about like crafting set lists for these shows? Like, because I'm sure you have to have a lot of songs on deck, and yeah, I don't know, it's a lot.
It's more like it's 3 sets. You're thinking maybe like 10 to 12. You're thinking probably like 30 songs a night. It's you try to get the pacing right, where it's like usually the good part of the night is going to be like the end of the first set and then all the second set, because then the dinner crowd's moved out, everybody's come in. So the second set's when everybody's like really into it, and then the third, it kind of winds down a bit. But we try to group them by pacing. Like the second set will have more of like the pop punk stuff. Our rhythm guitar player, he does most of the set list crafting. We also do it in terms of how our singer's feeling, like with his voice, trying to start off easy. The other thing we have to do is start off a little easier too, because every show you always get the owner, whoever comes by, and it's always, oh, can you turn it down a little bit? It's a little loud. So try not to like gauge it, but try not to push the singer's voice too much, trying to ease everybody into the night, and then always trying to finish strong. So you have a couple closers that tend to go over very well. But it's and it also depends too the types of places. Like if you play like we put Billy McBride's in Hoboken, which is like younger, and that's just like kids in their 20s, they love that pop punk stuff, dude. You play Blink-182, they freak out. I'm like,
That's us.
Yep.
but it's just funny too, because all right, I forget who wanted to do. Maybe it was our singer. He went that song Scotty Doesn't Know.
Yeah.
You guys know?
Euro
Okay.
Trip.
That's a jam.
Yeah, exactly.
From Euro Trip.
Yep.
Yeah. Matt Damon's up there saying, it's like, I had never heard of that song. I'm like, all right, we'll play. It seems fun. The moment you start going that, everybody in their 20s jumps up and starts freaking out. I'm like, I don't think that stuff is like aged the best of anything.
Yeah, like what's the other one? That Lit song. My Own Worst Enemy.
My Own Worst Enemy.
Like we see cover bands a lot in the summer, and at this point, I'm even sick of that song, but it's always a good time.
People love that one. I'm trying to think there's a couple other ones that are just like mainstays that you got to play.
Ocean Avenue.
Do you read a crowd?
Ocean Avenue.
Oh, we don't do that one. We
Okay.
want to hire a violin player.
Get the guitar.
Doing the guitar though now.
You know what? If you give our singer the idea, all of a sudden he's going to start sequencing that out.
So do you read a crowd? Like if you go in with a set and you notice the crowd is more of that Willie McBride's younger crowd, are you gonna kind of audible and lean into more of the 2000 stuff than the 90s, or you have a set plan no matter what?
it's we have this set, so we try to, and that's mostly to make sure we've got there's always a game plan and it's timed out for 3 hours or whatever it is. But when you're watching, you're seeing what's going on, then somebody will be like, scrap this next one, and instead of that, play Damn It, or play whatever it is.
Fall Out Boy.
And or like sometimes people come running up too, and they'll be like, oh, like, do you take requests? Or they just start shouting songs. You just Mr. Brightside, like, over and over again. And then like you go, all right, and if they want to hear that, you look around, like, sometimes it's either all right, we haven't played that in a while, let's do it. And then there's been a couple times where because everybody's been playing for a while, like we've played songs that we've never actually rehearsed. And you just look around like, right, do you know that one? You know that one? All right, cool. And then go off with it. But yeah, it's always trying to read the crowds, because let's face it, at the end of the night, it's it kind of doesn't matter how well we play. The venues are looking at, like, did people stick around, and were they buying drinks and all that stuff? So that's also the thing too. We say when you're crafting a set list and reading the crowds, like, we're trying to make sure that everybody who comes in stays, because nobody really knows us when we walk in. Maybe a couple friends have come out to see us, but the bulk of the bar is people we kind of have to win over. So
are there like certain songs that you like, staples that you open and close with, are your go-tos?
Opening ones, we'll kind of mix that up. It's more of like a something like open something like Good, Better Than Ezra, or like even Don't Look Back in Anger, Oasis. Some of the good closers that we've done is like the ones with like the epic guitar solos. So Alive by Pearl Jam, that one
nice.
a bunch.
It's a good closer.
That one, let me tell you, that's a fun song to play. And then it's got a killer guitar solo. So like if you got a guitarist that can pull it off, like it really goes over well. That one. And we do other good close has been I'm not particularly a fan of the song, but it does seem to go over well, as Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream. They have like that extended solo, and our drummer is really good about, like, he mixes that part up at the end, where like he'll extend parts or like really kind of break it up. He plays pretty aggressively, so he builds it up really well, and it ends up being like a lot of fun. And then I guess we're kind of twisting the song a little bit, because like he starts building up on the drums, and I'll start playing like chords on the bass, and then it just starts sounding like really big, and then at the end it just has like a really cool crescendo to it. So there's that one. Or there's always this one, we talk about audibles and stuff, like the bartender security comes up to, and there's just like one more song. It's just like Curfew or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And you just gotta be like, all right, the other good one, Everlong. People love that one.
We both love that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those songs that everybody loves, but when you go and listen to it, you're like, yeah, everybody should love it. It's popular for a reason. It's that good. I mean, like, it's melodic, but it's heavy. It's in drop D, and then it's got this nice melody to it. But then the drums are ferocious on that song. Like I don't know how you play without your arms falling off. It's like you got hit hard, but like it's fast. It's really fast,
especially the ending.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things where you sit back and listen to it, you're like, that's actually it's a very impressive song. I don't know if that sounds like a pretentious thing to say, but it's really good.
It's a great song. Do you ever feel like with some of these artists that you have to play like the hit when you'd rather kind of play a B-side or something? Like maybe you have to play Sugar We're Going Down instead of Dance Dance, which might be more fun, or something like that.
So there's always that balance, because I think all of us, we all want to do the songs that we really, that we particularly like. I'll give you a perfect example. So I love the Black Crowes. We've done Hard to Handle, which is like like the biggest one, and then we do Jealous Again. Jealous Again is one I love too. But like my favorite Black Crowes song, which was a single, is a song called Conspiracy from the third album Morca. And it's one of those things like it was a single and all that stuff, but it probably doesn't make sense to play because it's not as, it's not as recognizable, I guess, if you will, which is kind of a bummer. But at the same time, it's like, you also learn to see the songs differently too. Like there's actually a lot of songs that I never listened to unless I hear like in the car, but then actually really like playing it like Flagpole Sitta, my Harvey Danger. Like I never sit around going, oh, I would love to hear that song. But like actually I always really like playing it. It's, like it is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, but that is the balance. Because here's the thing too, is like to your point where like when you say like the deep cuts up, everybody's playing the the Mr. Brightsides, the My Own Worst Enemy. So sometimes we're still trying to differentiate by playing something that's like a little deeper cut where, maybe the whole bar isn't gonna get, but there's gonna be a handful of people that go, oh, I remember that song. Like I love that song. Like one that was a lot of fun we need to bring back is In the Meantime by Space Hog.
Oh,
That
yeah.
one always went over well.
That's gotta be fun
Not
on
like
bass.
a huge song.
Very underrated
Yeah.
song.
Underrated song, very busy. And when that was, I think, one of our better ones. And it was, like it's a popular song, but it's not nearly like a name brand.
It's one
like
you'd
some of the-
recognize if you heard, but you might not be able to like say what it is for
Yep.
a lot of people, I would think. It's a great song.
Exactly. There's one or two other ones that might have been a little more. I'm trying to think. Maybe either popular bands or more obscure that like went over, pretty well. I'm having a hard time remembering at the moment, but yeah, but that's the thing is like balance, like what do people know, but then what's also just like a little different. Because if I hear one more cover band play American Girl or like Blister in the Sun, like I'm just gonna,
Do-do-do-do-do.
it's I don't know. Some of those songs I'm like, we don't need to hear it again.
Yeah,
So,
And
You could go,
I
Brent.
know you just mentioned Black Rose, but like, who are some of your other like '90s go-tos, like for you personally?
okay, for me, when I think like the '90s stuff, like I'm a Nirvana guy. I've always loved that band. I want to play their songs like every set, but they can be a little hard to pull off. I think vocally can like really kind of shred you up. We would also kind of go back and forth where some people in the band love it, other people think it's kind of a bummer. Some of the stuff I love it. Pearl Jam is fun. We play Jeremy, which for me as the bass player is just really fun to play, and it's like a little different. That song either gets like a damn near standing ovation at the end or clears the floor depending on where you are. So like you kind of like
No middle ground.
yeah, that one. And then just because I love any song that I can use a fuzz or overdrive pedal, I really love playing Song 2. That one's a
Simpler.
lot. That's in one of those songs. It's so simple, but everybody sings along with it. It's nice and easy, and then yeah, it's fun to play. It's like a good party time song. But I think it's not 2000s, but I think my favorite song that we play right now, which I want to play every show, is Chelsea Dagger. But for Telly's. You
Oh,
guys know that one?
I think it's like the Chicago Blackhawks goal song. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, if you heard it, you would get it. It's like
It's a good party song too. Yeah.
That one always goes over well too. Yeah, a lot of fun. But those are mine. But it's been cool kind of dusting off some of the old ones. Like, we're talking about 90s stuff, playing like, Somebody to Shove by Soul Asylum. That's a fun song. Once again, like, I don't think I listened to it in years. And then, our drummer's like, I want to play it and I want to sing it. And we learned, I'm like, dude, this is a fun song,
Yeah, I bet there's a bunch like that. You mentioned it with Scotty Doesn't Know, like songs you either didn't know or maybe didn't think you liked, and then you learn them and you see how the crowd reacts and you come around on them maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, when you see people like, okay, if you're sitting in your car listening to something, it gets boring, you know. But like if you notice, like you definitely different appreciation for something when you're actually playing it at home or wherever. But then when you see somebody like, or like a group of people having a really good time to it, you're like, oh, well, like now you come to appreciate it in a different way that you normally wouldn't. So
You ever look out into the crowd and see people singing lyrics wrong? Like people get the same lyrics wrong often.
I don't know, but now I'm gonna watch every show for
Yes,
that.
you have to. There has to be certain
Because-
lyrics that people just mess up consistently.
because if I'm gonna be perfectly honest, when it comes to mistakes of any kind, it's mostly coming from us. We're like- so like whenever I see somebody mess up, it's usually like, you know, one of us looking at the other one like
Yeah,
you
and
missed
you're
your cue
definitely the
again.
hardest critic. Like you guys are
yeah, like,
noticing it way more.
like I forget, I think it was like the last show. I came in with something wrong, and rhythm guitar player Brad looks at me. He's like, "Are you on F sharp?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Oops. It was "Creep" by Radiohead, and the whole time playing, I'm like, somebody's at it too. And it was me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So Crossroads this weekend? I might go.
Crossroads.
I think I might go.
Dude, come check it out. I mean, if anything, it's going to be a cool venue and all that stuff. I mean, that's the other thing too, is we try to sell is like, hey, people come out to see like a cool place. I'm excited to play there. Like I said, I've never been, but they say it's like pretty professional over there. Where like, you know, I think they might even like be streaming it on their site or something like that. So, and that's the other thing too. I think they might actually have like a sound guy. So anytime we can like take advantage of that, that's always the best. Oh my God. You forget
Set everything
like
up for you.
what was that?
They set everything up for you.
I mean, like
Or-
they'll say everything, but like they'll like, you know, come in, like make sure everything's mic'd properly, maybe do like a, you know, get all like the drums set up, and you don't realize how important those guys are to any show. Because, you know, our drummer tries, you know, he like sets up like the PA and like the sub and all that stuff. But like if you're playing, you can't do the levels properly. You know, like you really do need somebody out there who can like, you know, balance it correctly. Because I don't think, you know, most of us, and even the, you know, casual music fan, realize just how important it is to keep that balance going. Because you can't hear, you know, what you're hearing on stage or, you know, within the band is not how it sounds out there. We're like, oh, I can't hear, you know, that guitar player over there, but it's like, but everybody out there can hear it fine. So it's like, you know, we shouldn't be asking them to like turn up, or, you know, if something might sound really loud up here, but it's, you know, actually out there, it's totally cool. So yeah, having those guys are like very, you know, I wish every place had a sound guy that was working there full time.
So your lead singer likes to throw shoes. Did I read this correctly?
Oh yeah, he likes to work in his little things at was it the Buddy Holly, with the whole I don't know, but I lost my shoe. So like before the song starts, you see him like starting to like loosen up his like his shoe, and then, like, so sometimes he'll throw it, and then I think he's learned a lesson. He used to sometimes just kind of like toss it to his side, or like by me, he would try to hit me with it, and so then I would take it and like, throw it out into the dance floor. So then after a couple of times, he's like, all right, I gotta throw it to somebody else who's not going to try to like, you know, send it to the moon. But
You got to
but
be
yeah,
careful.
that's,
Like you don't want to play brain stew and he starts taking his pants off or something.
you know,
draw
please
lines.
don't give him any ideas, because he will do it. He's definitely one of those dudes like you see, like, you know, somebody measures and then you see the gears turn, and then like, you know, and then there it goes, you know. So but it makes it entertaining. Me and him at the Orange Lantern once, we were doing like I think it was during basket case. We were like playing around, kind of like boxing each other out, like in basketball, whatever. And so he thought it was done, and I didn't. So I just went and threw another shoulder into him, and he stumbled, and he had like two keyboards, like, you know, stacked up by the edge of the stage, and he knocked him over and hit like our friend's friend, like right in the back of the head. who, to this dude's credit, he turned around, he was totally cool and like, you know, actually helped like put it back up. But and we finished the song.
There you go.
Punk rock.
And so you got to fight through it.
Have you guys like ever had to deal with like a drunken, like rowdy member of the crowd? And like if so, like how did you guys kind of
question.
handle that kind of situation?
There was some dude. I won't mention the venue, but like they handled him well. But this dude, I don't know what he was on. But he was like coming like on, so like, you know, we're just like on the floor, like, you know, I think they can like they move like the air hockey table over and like, you know, like then we're playing. He's like coming up on stage and like he's like trying to talk to people, and I think at one point he might have actually been trying to like strum the guitars or something like that. And he was just like, during every song he had to like come up and just start like trying to start a conversation with somebody, you know. And like at one point, like I'm like mid song, like everybody's playing, and he's like he comes up and he was relentless. Like he was either he was very excited about whatever it was, or if he didn't like it, he had no problem letting us know that either. But like I was like looking over it, like at the security guy at one point, I kind of give him like the eyes, and then he kind of like perks up. I'm like this dude here. So he was just kind of like he was good about keeping him away, but it was funny because the rest of the night you just see women scattering from the sky, like running, and just like everybody. He was, I don't know. I was talking to the security. I'm like, what was like what's up with that dude? He's like it's gotta be the drugs. I'm like, I hope not. But there's been plenty of that. No real shenanigans though. No fist fights, unfortunately. We're kind of hoping we maybe see like one of those bar brawls.
You got to play more Rage Against the Machine. That'll get the crowd fired up.
We played Killing in the Name, like, you know, every now and then. You'd think it would like elicit some kind of like, you know, somebody break a bar stool over somebody's back, but everyone's just like too well behaved. No one wants to get sued. But I think it would be fun to like be the soundtrack for like good old fashioned, you know, bar brawl. Why not? You know,
Would be your bar brawl song?
Ooh.
I think, you know what, you know, Rage Against the Machine would be good. I think, you know what, Chelsea Dagger would be a good proper bar brawl song. You know, maybe like Breed by Nirvana, something that doesn't slow down at all, you know. Exactly. Once like that intro, like that drum roll comes in, like, you know, start seeing people like, I don't know, jumping off the bar, smashing pint glasses. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you maybe want to start that this weekend at Crossroads, feel free.
All right, yeah. Just buy me enough shots and anything's possible.
We'll make it happen. I can't guarantee we'll cover your legal bills, but you know, I'll look forward to seeing you in court. If I get subpoenaed, I'm going to be upset because I don't like wearing a suit. So
Suits are never fun.
No, they're not. But you know, it might be about it's like that is Nick Hodges, and I did in fact see him start that bar brawl. I'll see you guys later.
Your Honor, I blame the band for getting me too pumped up. He's just like an old school metal dude. He's like, I totally understand. You're free to go.
He looks at you. He's like, Godspeed, son. You know,
like he threw his shoe at me during Buddy Holly. I couldn't help myself.
And it went off from there. It's like everybody's. I'm trying to think if I've seen like any other people like really mix it up, but no, it's. I don't know. I guess we live in far too civilized times, which I guess isn't so bad. You know, we don't want to see anybody go to the hospital.
Probably for the best. But we might miss out on some shenanigans.
Yeah, it's like when it comes to shenanigans, you know, everything in life is balanced. So you need like the good proper balance, you know, like, I don't know, like you don't want to like burn the venue down, but, you know, maybe, you know, start like a fire in the parking lot. That'd be okay. You know,
as long as it's outside.
Well, if it's outside, I don't see what the big deal is, you know, and especially if you contain it to one of those like 50-gallon drums, why not? Then we could, you know, everybody can throw their shoes in or, you know, whatever it is, you know.
Small Woodstock 99.
Down the street. Exactly, you know. Hope everybody came to break stuff and put on the Rick Yankee hats and have a good time.
Here's your fight song.
that would be fun. Yeah, you know what? It's like, yeah, if we're gonna, we should probably put some Limp Bizkit in the mix because, like, you know, I mean,
little nookie maybe.
Yeah, no, I actually brought that up to the band. I was like, I don't know if this is a really good idea or a bad idea. This is either gonna like tear the roof off or be so lame. But like, should we play like Nookie? Like, would that be? And I think the overwhelming response was like, no, we shouldn't. And I'm like, I still can't tell if that would be awesome or like, I'm trying to picture myself in the crowd. If the band played Nookie, if I'd be like, oh yeah, like these guys get it, or I wouldn't want to be accused of like thinking it was awesome. And then people like these guys actually really like this stuff.
I think you'd be surprised. They're touring right now, and
Yeah.
I think it's selling very well.
Dude, they're playing the Garden.
Jesus. Wow.
And you know what? My brother's like, he's like, Limp Bizkit has a day at the Garden. I said, you know what? I bet that's actually be an awesome show. Like you go and I don't know, like turn your brain off. And I bet it'd be hilarious. You know?
I feel like a My Way or a Roland would go over really well with a crowd.
There's songs like they're so dumb that they're actually like kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you hear Roland come on, like, yeah, you kind of can't help get a little fired up, even like, you know, it's bad. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like, you know, when you eat something, you know, it's horrendous for you, but you just enjoy it. That's what a song like Roland is. It's like,
They're fast food.
Exactly. It's like a couple, like you're going to feel so guilty and awful later, but you're like, hey, you know, that was a good, you know, 4 minutes or whatever. But you ever listen to their first album? It's like really heavy, like really heavy.
They cover Faith.
Oh yeah, it's like they cover Faith. I know, it's actually heard on the radio like this weekend twice, which I hadn't heard that one in years. I'm like, you know what? This is like, it is dopey, but like there's a lot of kind of fun memories with this song. What's the thing in the background above your head? It looks like is it
Right
like
here?
Yeah, it's like a logo thing.
That's a rolled up Jets flag.
That's what I thought was. I
Yeah.
was like, is that a Jets logo?
I didn't want it to be too distracting, so I rolled it up a little
I was
bit.
gonna say, he's gonna admit that to people.
Jets and Devils.
Sadly.
It's rough.
Dude, I can't say much. I heard something that like since whenever 2008, like the Jets and Giants have like the worst records.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's pretty bad.
It's
The
not
Jets
far
have
off,
like the
too.
longest playoff drought now.
It's bad, and then you know it's also a bummer too. Is like I've only been to Giants Stadium once, the new one. I'm like, this is a new stadium. This is so dull. Like there's no.
I mean, the most generic stadium ever.
It's boring, but
It looks like a giant air conditioner from like the highway.
it kind of does. I mean, you know, you can buy it. It's like this boring looking stadium, and then it had like, you know, whatever that. What was that thing called? Was it called Xanadu or whatever?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they were built for 20 years.
American Dream.
Yeah,
Now it's a mall, right?
It's
like,
still kicking.
now it's like up and now it's up and running. But before I was like, there was some like indoor ski slope that nobody was using. You know?
It just sat there.
Yeah, all it was good for was hosted the Bamboozle every year.
Yep, those are the
Oh
days.
yes, the memories. Do you remember?
That was when I decided I'd rather go to concerts than go to my baseball games. And I saw disappointment in my dad's eyes for the first time in my life.
I remember, you know, you get like an email, you know, or text from somebody like they just posted the schedule. And you're like, oh, here it is. Here's it's like, you're like, oh my God, it's Muse and Taking Back Sunday and Atreyu and Every Time I Die, and you'd be like, we have to go. And some of those shows were fun. Dude, Weird Al was playing one that I went to.
I saw
It had to
once
be wild.
at Gov Ball. Yeah, I love how they mix it up with these festivals too, because that's my favorite thing about a festival is you see people that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. Like this one I'm going to in
Yeah.
Florida, Kiss is playing. Like when would I ever see Kiss? It's gonna be awesome.
It's going to be fun now.
Yeah, no, I'm psyched.
Oh.
And then there's this band called The Who, HU, and they're like Mongolian death metal.
They're called the Who.
The HU.
That's very clever, guys.
Yeah. I'm not going to listen till I see them live because I don't want to know what Mongolian death metal sounds like until I'm in the crowd.
You
wonder
know
if
what,
they
I
can-
agree. I agree.
I wonder if they've ever been booked by accident. Like people thinking they're booking the Who, and it's Mongolian death metal instead.
Can you imagine your parents like walk into there being like, I never got a chance to see them, but I know that like Keith Moon's not there. This will be fun. Mongolian death metal.
Like, oh, they got Asian? I'm confused. So bar stages. Um, I was wondering, you touched on it before at the OL. Like how different is it? Like you said the OL has a bar up from the crowd. Then the last one you described, you were just on the floor with everyone. Is there a preference? Like, do you like maybe being up, or what's the best way for you?
Truth, this is gonna sound maybe silly and basic, but like wherever we have space, because
Ah,
you're crowded, and because like they're not gonna give you a bunch of space because that's taken away from tables for the paying customers. So like there's 5 guys in the band, so I'm the only one that actually brings an amp, and it's still tight. So like that's the thing, is like the preference is really where can we kind of just like spread out so we're not tripping over one another, because like, you know, you could turn around like in certain places and like, I've backed into the cymbals, without meaning it because you're not enough space. You clunk guitars into like one another, tripping over wires. But like maybe one of the best setups was we played uh, Just Jake's back in November in Montclair, and they have like a legit like stage, so like you're elevated so people can see you, you can see them. They have like a really good sound system, and it's like you have space and nobody's like really cramped. So that like the real preference is really just having a place where you can actually like spread out. Um, but yeah, anything where it kind of gives a little, I don't know, separation, if only just because there's other like from a technical standpoint, like you got like your pedal boards down there and you got like these wires, and like we're tripping over them, other people might be too. So it's yeah, I guess it'd be preferred if we had like a nice little stage everywhere because usually if there's a stage, it also means like that they preparing for the band to come in, and as opposed to the other place where we walk in, they still haven't moved the tables out, and then like we're helping them like roll out the dinner table and like stick it on its side over there.
yeah. Go ahead, Brett. My mind's
I
running
was gonna
too.
say I'm surprised I didn't ask until now, but I gotta ask about the band name. I think like you guys have like the greatest cover band name I've ever heard before.
What's funny about that, dude? If you Google Grand Theft Audio, there's one in Massachusetts. I think there was one in New Jersey. There was like one in like it's all over. So again, like the NJ thing. We came up with that name. So when the band formed, we performed. Our singer and drummer were in a band together before us, and their band was like dissolving, but they had a few more gigs on the books. So like, let's just perform under the other band's name, for those gigs and whatnot. And then like it just got to, and we're like, then like we'll change it later. And we kind of kept putting it off. And after I was like, this other name we're playing it, I'm like, I can't stand it. It's stupid. I hate it. We have to change it. Like I want to like be like our own thing. And so our singer actually, he was the one who's like, he's like, oh, I thought like Grand Theft Audio would be a good name. I'm like, that's pretty good, And then like people hear and like like everybody knows, it's like they get the reference, It's like people like laugh at it, and then like you can do like the video game font and all that stuff. So like it does have like a little bit of familiarity because I always thought like the name, it's you can't take it too seriously. We're playing other people's songs, right? But like you don't want it to be something like there's some bad band names out there, dude. I'm like we got to do some kind of good branding. But but yeah, it's fun. I do like it.
Is there a like a cover band like club? Like, do you ever talk to like the Benjamins or the Nerds or like any of those other guys and like all bond over your shared
Those
territories?
so like those dudes like at like next like down to like the next level, they've all been doing for like 20 some odd years. Like they're the bands that actually do have like a following. Um, so like they get like all like the big place, like the Jenks down in Point Pleasant. We're at the level like underneath, and like so we're all within. I'd say like our class. Everybody is like it's like competition, but it's also like your peers. And one of the things I came to learn when you said like when you're talking about like the scene or whatever is one of the things that's actually kind of good about this is let's say one of us is on vacation in July, but there's a gig book. You know other people in bands, you go, hey, like, our set list already. You can sub people in like really easy. And it's, not like a big deal. Like if you're, you go to see, some, original band, you're like, oh, one of the guys is going to make it. You're like, well, I don't want to go to that show. But like, we can swap people in and out like pretty easy, and actually makes it way easier to, you know, get things booked. And then, or if like there's like a last minute cancellation for somebody, you go, oh yeah, well, we know this guitar player, that drummer, that bass player, singer, and they come in. So it's like, yeah, we're all like, competing, but at the same time, we're all still, yeah, peers and kind of relying on one another here and there. So yeah, there's like, I'd say like there's friendly rivalries, and then there's also people that like, we're all just like buddies with, and people who like go out to see one another. But yeah, it's been a cool way to meet other musicians for sure. You know, it's not like there's a ton, up around like, I'd say like the North Jersey area, but there's actually, you start to learn that there are good musicians out there. I've been surprised by like how good some people are. I was like, oh wow, like there's some people who are like really talented, dude. Um, but yeah, it's definitely been a cool way to meet other people. And like, we've had people that we know, and like, like they'll jump up on stage and take over for a song on like, bass or vocals, guitar. And it's yeah, it definitely gives it sometimes more of like a, I don't know, like good times party atmosphere, knowing that like, we could just pull somebody up who we're friends with and they can play along. I think people kind of like that.
That's
Definitely
cool.
something you don't really get at other shows you go to.
Oh no, I mean, look, I don't think Slash is going to pull anybody up from the crowd to be like, oh, you can handle the solo in Paradise City, have at it, kid. Like, like we've had friends walk into a place and like, oh yeah, like, this guy plays guitar, I'll let him play on this song, and then like, yeah, then like you see people's friends like that they come in with, and like they'll like run to the stage and start like taking photos, videos, and stuff. So like it's something that's fun, but it's also something where you're like, oh, this helps with just exposure, because now people are more excited to see this, and then they'll post it somewhere, or they'll, tell their friends about it. But yeah, it's been one of those things where, yeah, before getting into this, I didn't realize, yeah, just like how, yeah, many actually good musicians are out there, doing this type of thing.
Very cool. Yeah, it seems like a ton of fun. Like like you said at the beginning, it's something I've always like daydreamed about. Like when I see cover bands, like, oh, I'd love to do that, but you don't really take steps to do it. So it's awesome that you did it and it's working.
But I got like tired. I was like, I haven't played with people in years. I'm like, and I actually want to play in front of a crowd. And then like, no one's going out to see original stuff. I'm like, I just remembered back in the day, I would go see like all this cover bands, and it'd be like some place that was jammed. I'm like, let's just get over myself with having to be like some kind of artist and having some kind of sound I need to be able to hear. It's like, what's really good is just having a fun time on Saturday night, playing a Foo Fighters song and everybody sings along, it's like, yeah, like I don't know. I would encourage anybody who's thinking about doing it to just give it a swing. It's a pain putting together a band, but once you do and you get and you're off and running with it, it's yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, it looks it. It's fun to watch.
But that's the thing I wonder too, is like, okay, this might sound weird. I don't really go out to watch like cover bands or anything like that. But like, I always wonder, like, like when you guys, if you walk into a bar and you see there's a band playing, are you like, oh, cool, let's see how they are? Or are you more like, oh, it's going to be loud? Like,
It depends what I'm looking for that night. Like, there's some nights I'm like, oh, I'm all for a band. But if it's like I'm taking like the wife out for dinner, there's a band, it's like, ooh, now we're not even gonna be able to like talk. But I feel like that's why I feel like it depends.
It's definitely fair. It's like I said, we would walk into places and people like, they don't know. You see people like eyeing us up. I think they're trying to determine if they're going to stay even before you've even played. So,
Yikes.
Imagine you and your wife sitting there going, all right.
then we hear some good songs we know, then could completely flip the mood. There's always that aspect too.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's truthfully one of the things that's actually kind of rewarding is when you kind of, it's like you said, when you flip a crowd, some people who don't know you, they don't owe anything to you, they're not like your friends, they're not like whatever, and then all of a sudden they end up sticking around, and then like, you know, I don't know, somebody comes in like, you know, like slaps you on the shoulder and like, you know, it's like, hey, you guys are great, and you're like, oh, like, really cool. Like it's cool when you can convert people into, you know, people, and then you see like, oh, they're gonna stick around all night and like, you know, maybe even come and see us again. But yeah, that's sort of like the challenge that we have every, I guess every show, if you will. Always trying to win people over.
It's funny. Speaking of like winning people over, I was actually out like once like 5-6 years ago with friends at a bar, and we were loving the cover band so much that my buddy actually booked the band to play his wedding, and they did. It's like there's like things like that could happen, which is really cool to see.
Oh, there's been
That's where
plenty
the
of
money
things
is.
where like, well, yeah, you
Yeah.
can make
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like I've heard about people like some of those big wedding bands, you know, and like, you know, it's that stuff is no joke, dude. Like you can make a good living doing, or you know, good living, or just like, you know, have a real good side hustle with it. You know, there's been like, we've gotten some interest from people that have said like, hey, would you play our wedding? And which to me, I was shocked. I was like, who's going to want like an alternative cover band to play their wedding? But then all of a sudden there's some people that like, they're into that. Like they don't want to have the, I don't know, people playing the Bee Gees and whatnot, and like, you know, like 70s like disco hits. They're like, oh
Cupid
yeah, like we
Shuffle.
want to, yeah, like we want to hear like the, you know, Misfit songs and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay, you know, and we can do it for, I don't know, X amount of dollars. But it's yeah, that's where like that's what you always hope, is that somebody is at a show and goes, even if it's not good, like somebody from somewhere else and goes, oh, you guys would be good for, you know, this event or this wedding, or you know, something like that.
And then my last question for you is I have to ask you about the guitar. So like, so like, how'd you get into playing that, and also like, how difficult is it to play?
All right, so with the keytar, so when the band formed, our original lead guitar player, who kind of like the whole thing starts with that guy, great guitar player. He, you know, we all kind of left on amicable terms. Great dude. He'll be getting up to play with us again soon. He really wanted all the songs to sound very much like they were on the, you know, recording. So he wanted to have like keyboards when none of us knew how to play. So it was like, should we get another keyboard player? No. And our singer Steven's like, he's like, you know, I'll learn the keyboards. You know, he was like up for it. So he's like been learning it and whatnot. But you know, going back to the stage thing, there's not enough room. So then when you put like a thing of keyboards up there, it was taking up all this space. And then, you know, if I'm throwing a shoulder into him, it's getting knocked into the crowd. So then there was a text thread and he goes, I'm thinking about getting a keytar. And I think at first I was like, please don't. Like, do not get that. So then it came up again. And do you guys remember the band El Nino? Like a metal band from like a Jersey-based like metal band from like early 2000s. Their bass player ran our old rehearsal space in Hoboken, and his name was Laz, great dude. And they're like, they said the singer's like, Laz, he's like, should we get a keytar? And so, you know, Laz, who's toured the world and like did all stuff, he's just like, oh yeah, like he's like, get a keytar. So like that kind of sold it. So it saves room on stage. And now I guess, you know what, you might have been proving my singer's point, Brett, because he was like, people are going to see the keytar and be like, that's the keytar band, like it's going to stand out. And we were like, no one cares about the stupid keytar. And now here we are, Brett's going like, yeah, you guys got a keytar.
I'm a sucker for the keytar.
Hey, you know, I kind of can't argue with it. It's like, you know, it does add an element of fun. And then it takes up, you know, less space on stage. So, but I got to tell her singer that, I'd be like, yeah, I have to concede that your theory about the keytar might have been correct.
Oh, I love it. So Crossroads this weekend. Where can the people find you guys? Instagram, Facebook?
search us out Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Just search out Grand Theft Audio NJ. You'll find us there. It's I'm trying to think if there's any other bands or anything, but yeah, just search out Grand Theft Audio NJ or New Jersey. You'll find us. Those are the three main ones. And yeah, this weekend is Crossroads, and then 2 weekends is the Stagehouse Tavern in Scotch Plains, and then at the end of the month is the Red Lion in Manhattan, and then a bunch of good shows coming up in May, June, July too. So follow us on there, and everybody, please come out. This is fun. This is a good time, guys.
Hell yeah.
This is
Definitely.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you. This is fun, man.
Yeah, it was great. Last question. Can Dimebag Daryl shout out General Admission Podcast?
Wait a minute. Actually, hold on one second. I need a prop. I think Ryan Dacey actually gave this to me. It's like, all right.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Dad.
Hey man. All right, man. I'm getting strapped up with the General Admission Podcast right now. We'll be burning some rope, doing some illegal shit. You know, get your pull on that, man.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Dimebag. Always a pleasure.
Love it.
Thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you soon. Maybe
Thanks,
I'll see you.
Mike.
I'll try and see you this
Thanks, guys.
weekend.
Dude, come out. It'd be great.
Awesome. All right. Later.
Bye.
Okay, we're back. Thank you, Mike Hellriegel, for coming on. That was a ton of fun. In the spirit of cover bands, I think Brett has a little something he cooked up that he likes to call.
What band is this?
All right.
Which, and I'll explain some.
This is the game show where we're gonna name band. We'll workshop that one.
That's gonna be our game show music if we can't find any in the producing process.
All right.
But
Brett.
some ground rules at the top. So basically, I made up 10 cover band names. So, and then just for the record, these are all from the top of my head. If these bands exist, shout out to them. If they don't exist, but somebody takes the name, feel free to take it.
Venmo's open.
Yep. They're not copyrighted yet, but feel free to take them to our Venmo. And for you, Nick, these are bands within our lifetime. So there's no like Zeppelin or Rolling Stones or anything. It's bands that were around while we've been on Earth.
Okay. So my days off Earth don't count.
Don't
'cause
count.
I spent that year in space.
And basically, these are cover bands of existing bands. And I'm going to say the cover band name, and you have to guess which band they cover.
Okay. Hit me.
All right. I'll start you off with an easy one. Long Forgotten Sons.
Well, Brett, I'm going to go with Rise Against, Chicago's favorite.
Correct. You're 1 for 1.
Ding, ding, ding.
I'll go into another easy one for you.
Oh, thank you.
Jonas.
Well, that can only be one band. Weezer.
Correct. Now we're going to start to spice it up as we go along here.
Now that I'm feeling good, you could knock me down.
All right, you got your confidence up now. The next one is Don't Count on Me.
To let you know when my cover band is playing. Wait, that would be a Sum 41 cover band, sir.
That's correct.
Yeah.
3 for 3. Wait, I see what I did now. So the first half is easy, then it gets tougher in the second 5. So I would think you should easily get these next 2.
All right, let's hear them.
This is probably the easiest one, but where are you?
And I'm so sorry that my cover band was late. This is going to be a Blink cover band.
That's correct. 4 for 4.
4 for 4.
And this one, I just made myself laugh with the name. If there's actually a band out there named this, I'd laugh at it every single time. but this band is Get It, Put It In You.
Well, that would be the band that plays all the porno conventions. I'm gonna go with the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's correct. It'll give it away nod there.
Oh no.
So
Now
you're
we're-
perfect through 5. You're
All
halfway
right.
through the game now. You're gonna get a little tougher now. Maybe. Next one up is Bruised and Broken.
I thought maybe was the hint. I was Carly Rae Jepsen. Bruised and Broken is going to be Newfound Glory.
Correct.
Head-on collision.
6 for 6.
Yeah, baby. Lucky number 7.
Next up is Listen to Me Whine.
Green Day.
Correct.
Yeah.
Still perfect.
Woo.
All right, next one is Don't Bother Angels.
Hmm. Don't bother angels. Don't bother angels. Bother angels. System of a Down.
No. Actually, I might have messed up on this one. It's a Taking Back Sunday cover band. I believe the line is Don't Bother Angel and cue it at the ear.
Oh.
Has that been a misheard lyric?
That's when he's yelling in Your Soul Last Summer, or is it the other one
Cue it
that
at
I
the
always
E.
mix up? Yeah. Yeah. Angel and her lipstick. Don't bother, Angel. I know exactly. Oh
Yep.
man. I messed that
I
one
broke
up.
up the perfect game.
System of a Down. Get out of here. Only Machine Gun Kelly can cover System of a Down.
Ooh, or can he?
We'll let the listeners decide. Don't look it up.
Well, you got 2 shots of redemption here at least, unlike
Okay.
Machine Gun Kelly. This one is Bands Like This.
Bands like this. Bands like this or bands like this? Wait, I said the same thing twice.
Oh, sorry, I read it. Bands Like These.
I want to say Foo Fighters.
Correct.
Cool.
All right, the last one I think is the toughest one. So let's see if you get it. Vampire World.
Vampire World. Vampire World. Vampire World. I want to go with My Chem because they have a song about vampires.
No.
Wait, can I get a hint?
The world is a vampire.
Well, that was a pretty straightforward hint. It is The Men Who Smash the Pumpkins.
They do.
8 out of
I had a
10.
different one originally. I had Stomping Gourds, but I figured that's not really a reference to the Smashing Pumpkins. It's just another way.
It was just another way of saying closing your eyes fastly and then opening them again for a certain amount of times. That would be blink.
Can't breathe. Trouble breathing.
Trouble breathing.
The sum of 39 plus 2.
That's a good one.
Glory you just discovered.
All right, we need to stop this before it gets even more out of hand. I have some news on the band who closes their eyes very fastly and opens them again 182 times.
A certain amount of times.
So I was in the shower thinking. It's where I get some of my best thinking done. And obviously, while I'm making the shower, I'm thinking about Blink-182 because what else would you think
Naturally.
about? Yeah. So I was thinking there's all this courting going on Instagram. This week, Tom posted it was just a picture of himself with like, there were a couple like black lines, but I don't think that was relevant. And the caption was just at Blink 182. So like something's clearly going on, as we've known. And then I thought, let's say Tom rejoins, as we feel will happen. What's next? What happens? Because he's going to join and something's got to happen. So they're either going to announce a reunion tour or announce a new album. And then I started thinking, if they tour and they're getting back together, maybe there's a reason. So I did some Googling. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket came out in 2000, or was it? I think just 2001. Yeah. So that anniversary has passed. But you know what came out in 2003?
Self-titled,
also known as Blink's magnum opus, their best work. So
I think we're aligned in our thinking here.
I think Tom announces rejoining Blink, and then they announce 20-year self-titled tour. Now, the kicker is self-titled came out in November of 2003, but I don't think we can split hairs. Like, it came out in 2003. They can tour it in 2023. They don't have to wait till November. I hope. So yeah, that's my thinking. Tom rejoins, self-titled 20-year anniversary tour gets announced. Maybe a deluxe edition with like demos and stuff, maybe a couple new songs. That's how Not Now came to be. It was just like a greatest hits. They snuck a couple on it.
That very underrated song, Not Now.
Yeah, that's a very good song. It's easy to forget about because if you listen to albums, you're probably not listening to their greatest hits, and then it just kind of falls by the wayside. But yeah,
I could see that though, but my only
self-titled news.
Self-titled news. My only thinking there would be, if they didn't do a full tour, what if they just did a 20-year show at Bamboozle? They headlined, they played self-titled in full for the 20th anniversary of Bamboozle.
Do you think New Jersey can hold all those people?
I don't think so. So put it back at MetLife, which I'm all for. I think it's a better spot. I'd rather be in a parking lot than like trying to figure out where to go in Asbury.
Yeah, I was too young for like the surf and skate Bamboozle days. So like Bamboozle to me was like the MetLife parking lot or Giant Stadium, whatever it was then. I forget when it switched. And then there was the Bamboozle that they gave us a few years ago, which was on the beach.
On the beach.
Yeah. That'd be really cool. That would be really cool. I'd be down with that because we live here, so it's fine with me.
Either way, it's a win for us, hopefully.
Yeah. They are a California band, so I don't know if they'd maybe announce, because I forget who, but I've seen bands just announce like a couple big shows, some on the East Coast at one venue, and then some on the West Coast at another. So like, it's basically you have to go to New York or California to see them. I don't know if
it's like the final Warped Tour did that, right?
Yeah. Well,
like Ventura, California, and I think like that AC, LA City.
I didn't know there was a West Coast one for that, but it makes sense. Because I don't, does Blink want to tour the whole country? They're old men.
Probably not. I don't know. Hopefully Mark's doing a lot better, but I don't know what kind of condition he's in currently.
Right. And Travis hopefully has like all this reality TV he has to film. So although
producing
reality Kardashians featuring Travis on the road playing with Blink, I mean, I'd watch that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. So you get a new viewers.
I'm almost debating if this Kardashian thing, if it's just on Hulu, and I know there's like a lot of Travis in an episode, I'd throw one on just to see what it's about, just to hear Travis's voice. He just carries around a drum pad. Whenever he gets asked a question, he's just like.
He's just getting tattooed the entire episode, like what we talked about with Bobby.
You saw it on the Grammys. You saw his head real well, and I was
Oh,
thinking what
yeah.
Bobby said. He wasn't kidding. Like he is tatted
No.
up. It's crazy.
Good
Ah,
observation by Bobby.
yeah. Yeah, Travis. What a interesting person. But yeah, Blink Tour, self-titled. You heard it here first, folks. Unless you heard it somewhere else. I don't really know. I don't know what you're
The
listening
breaking
to.
news before the breaking news.
That's right. You want to get into our voicemails? We had a call
Let's
in.
do it.
So we had a call in from our friend Mike G, and is cover band related. So let me get this pulled up, and here we go.
Hey boys, first time, long time, or is it long time, first time? Either way, fan of the pod. Quick question for you: when you see a cover band at a wedding or a bar or a club, what's your go-to song? What song are you just waiting for them to play? When they play it, you go nuts. And on the other side of the coin, what song do you run away to the bathroom? Nick, you're not allowed to say Spice Girls. See ya.
That caveat at the end made this question a lot harder. Favorite song that you're waiting for a cover band to play? I gave this quite a bit of thought because there's a lot of good songs, but what songs do you want to hear played by a cover band? So I'll take this one first. One of my favorite songs to hear by a cover band is the Anthem by Good Charlotte. And my reasoning
Ooh,
is
it's a good one.
Good Charlotte is a band that like Young and Hopeless, Young and Restless, whatever album that was, with like,
I think you're a Young and Hopeless.
I think so, with like
getting
Wondering
old
and
now.
the Anthem and Bloody Valentine. And I love that album and I never listen to it anymore. I don't know why. I just don't. It's whatever reason. So I really only hear the Anthem when cover bands play it, and that's awesome. It's got a great guitar solo. It's got a line about shaking your dick at the urinal. Who doesn't love that? um, it's got the crowd part at the end where like they're like another loser anthem, and everyone could be like, whoa. It's just a fun crowd participation song. It's got all the pieces that make a great single, and I really only hear it when cover bands play it. So that's my vote. And
That's a great one.
thank you. I'll let you say your favorite because I am really struggling to think of a song that I go to the bathroom for, since I can't say Spice Girls Wannabe because that's the worst song ever written in the history of time. Excuse me.
It probably is. But I think so. Mine doesn't really happen too often. But when a cover band pulls it out, I go nuts. When the song played at your wedding, I went nuts. This was, of course, Alive, the Glory of Love by Say Anything. Who doesn't go nuts when that song comes on? Like, it's just something comes over me every single time. Like, my mood is instantly at like 200 on a scale of 1 to 100. And it's it just captures the audience. It's not really the happiest of song when you listen to what's going on
We
lyrically,
ignore the Holocaust,
but melodically,
song about love.
it is a song about love. That I requested at a Jewish wedding once and forgot that that's what the song was about. But that's beside the point.
Oh no. Oh no.
No one knew, but my friend like, why did you request this? Like, what do you mean? Who doesn't like the song? He's like, we're at a Jewish wedding. I was like, oh shit. Probably not a good idea, but everyone went nuts when it came on. So it worked out in the end, at least.
You know, there were some old folks in the crowd that are like, what did they just say? It's a great song though.
Say
It starts off with
camps?
the build up. Oh, and then you got the swinging
And
part. And
when I
yeah, that's all timer.
and the
Great
bridge
pick.
with the speeded up go. Oh,
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah, you already think you're partying hard, and then they tell you to speed it up. Forget about it. Yeah, that's a great pick. I
That's
love
where your
that song.
videographer caught me during that part.
I gotta go back and watch the video. We'll clip it
Or it
in.
might have been a different song, but that song was played around the same time. So
Least favorite song. I Do you have one? Because I'm really struggling with this.
From a cover band or in general? You mean you just mean when a cover band plays it, you want to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, I would look at it like a song that's usually played by cover bands, and you're like, this one again. Or maybe not this one again, but yeah. I don't
No, we discussed this on the interview, but I'm just going to use it because he said the song, and I was like, yeah, I do hate hearing that all the time. Probably American Girl, Tom Petty.
nah.
Like, how many times are you going to play that over? Like, it's a great song, but like, I don't need to hear it every single time there's a live band.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. That one's kind of it could kind of
My
get
own worst
old.
enemy, on the other hand, like, I wouldn't mind hearing that every time because that song just gets the people going.
See, I almost picked that if I'm being completely honest, just because it's like there's a cover band, you know they're gonna play it, but it's it's a great song. Like
It works.
I really, it's not fair. It would be disingenuous to say I don't like when it's played. I'm just slightly tired of hearing it, but I still have a great time when it's played. So I can't say I'd leave. Um, Spice Girls is definitely a walk away, but Mike took that one off the table. Ooh, it was a weird noise. Ah, I'm at a loss. I'm really at a loss here.
It's a sign of a good thing then. I guess there's not really any songs you're sprinting to the bathroom other than
Yeah,
just Spice Girls. But do cover bands play that?
I've heard it.
Sometimes.
I've heard. You wanna be, you wanna. Kill me. You know what? I hate that song so much that that's my answer, and I don't care that you said I can't say it because that's how much I hate it. So
He
there you
answered
go,
it for
Mike.
you.
I'll text it to you if I could think of one, but that's the answer, and that's what has to be the answer because that song is trash. Fight me. Anyway, got a little aggressive there. I'm sorry, folks.
Their wrestling promo.
God, just really don't like that song. Now I'm all worked up. What do we got going on next week, Brett? take me away from this.
I know there's a ton of albums coming out Friday, but the top two that I at least have noted down were Jack White as part one of his two albums coming out this year, and New Papa Roach, who I still check out after all these years, even though like, some people think they're not cool anymore. I've always loved Papa Roach, and they always put on a good live show, so I still check out whenever they drop something.
They're good for some
I
singles.
Yeah,
I remember
that one they did with they put it out last summer was really good.
Yeah, had like an electronic part in it or something, I thought, or like a
He like
feature of
raps
some
again.
sort. Yeah. Yeah.
The
So
Fever 333 singer.
yeah, that was it.
Don't swerve in my lane or something like that. Swerve. There it is.
There. Yeah. All right, it's new Papa Roach, new Jack White. We're gonna have our friends on from Grin and Bear, Jersey-based band that I really love, and they have a new album coming out next Friday. So we're gonna have Brian on, the lead singer, guitar player, writer of the songs, and we're gonna talk to him about it. Very excited.
I can't
Yeah.
wait for that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. That's our show. If you're listening on iTunes, rate us because that will really help. A little 5-star, maybe review. Like these guys are so handsome and funny. We love them. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Do all the things
Review
that
and
you're supposed to do. Thank you everyone for listening, and we will talk to you next week. Peace.
Love all of you. Love you, Nick.